It started with a single email that hit me like a sucker punch to the gut. That Friday night, my wife's laptop screen glowed in the dim light of our living room, revealing words that shattered my world. Sweetheart, your late meeting. Just emailed. Can't wait for round two at the Hilton. Your tie's still in my purse. My breath caught in my throat. Nausea rolled through me, followed by a burning anger that made my hands tremble. This wasn't a mistake. It was the end of everything I thought was solid. But before I unravel the wreckage, let me introduce the players in this twisted game. I'm Victor, 38 years old, a software engineer who's always been the steady type, more comfortable debugging code than deciphering the subtle cracks in my marriage. My wife, Elena, 33, is the ambitious marketing powerhouse with charisma that lights up every room. And then there's Marcus, her smooth-talking boss, a 40-something executive with a reputation for mentorship that hides darker intentions. These three lives were colliding, and I was about to steer it right off the cliff. Our story hadn't always been this broken. Like every tragedy, it began beautifully. We met 8 years ago at a corporate mixer. I was the introvert in the corner, sipping a flat soda, and she was the rising star pitching eco-friendly watches with enough passion to set the room on fire. One offhand joke from me about corporate synergy being just fancy talk for chaos made her laugh. Really laugh. That laugh hooked me. We spent hours talking that night, then days, then weeks. Late-night chats about our dreams turned into early morning coffees. She wanted to climb the ladder at Apex Media. I wanted to build campaigns from our cozy condo, free from office politics. Together, it felt unstoppable. Our wedding was a fairy tale. Cherry blossoms in bloom, vows whispered under vineyard arches. The honeymoon in Tuscany sealed it. Sun-drenched olive groves, her head on my chest as we talked about kids and a home filled with laughter. Back then, I believed we had unlocked the secret to a perfect partnership. Her bold fire paired with my steady calm. I felt secure, deeply loved. But secrets have a way of creeping in through the cracks, and when they surface, the cut goes bone deep. The signs appeared slowly, subtle enough that I convinced myself they didn't matter. Her client dinners multiplied. "Networking is everything, babe," she'd say, her smile casual, but her eyes flickering just long enough to stir unease. Her phone became a locked vault, buzzing at odd hours. When I joked, "Got a secret admirer?" she'd quip back, "Only admirer I need is you, my code king." But her tone was rehearsed, too smooth, leaving me restless at night. Then came the cologne, a musky, unfamiliar scent on her clothes that wasn't mine. "Just office vibes," she brushed it off, kissing me with lips that felt like strangers. My doubts grew roots. I told myself I was paranoid, that trust meant ignoring small storms. But somewhere deep down, I already knew. The truth finally arrived on a rainy Saturday. Elena claimed she was at a conference in Chicago, but her laptop was open at home. A careless mistake, a gift from fate. I only wanted to check our shared calendar. Instead, a notification popped up. "Mem Marcus Confidential." My pulse spiked. Should I open it? My hand hovered, but curiosity won. The email hit like a blade. "Last night's merger was electric. Your office couch deserves a medal." Attached were photos I'll never erase from memory. Elena in unfamiliar lace, Marcus smirking in hotel light. And worse, months of emails stretched back like a hidden journal. Teasing messages, secret plans, hotel receipts. Her words in black and white. "Victor's buried in code. He won't notice." Shock numbed me. Tears blurred my vision as betrayal sank in. How could the woman who promised me forever write this? My chest heaved, fury mixing with heartbreak, until I thought I might break. But through the pain, one thought surfaced, clear as day. If she could be calculated in betrayal, I could be calculated in revenge. Over the next days, I descended into a dark well of discovery. Hotel bills buried in our joint account, GPS pins leading to rented suites, flirty voice notes that made my stomach churn. Each piece of evidence cut deeper, but each one also sharpened my resolve. I didn't lash out. I didn't scream. I played my part as the doting husband, bringing home takeout, asking about her day, pretending nothing was wrong. But behind the mask, I was building a case. I cloned her phone. I backed up her emails. Every late-night work call became another file in my collection. While Elena thought she was living a double life, I was watching the walls close in. It all came to a head at the Apex Media Gala. A glittering black tie event filled with champagne, laughter, and masks thicker than the makeup on people's faces. Elena sparkled on stage, accepting her Rising Star Award with Marcus close by, his hand lingering too long at her elbow. My blood boiled, but I stayed calm. This was the night. I worked the room quietly, slipping USB drives into the right hands, HR, Marcus's wife, even the ethics committee. Special presentation, I said with a polite smile. Then, as the CEO launched into praise for Elena's unmatched commitment, I triggered the AV system from my phone. The screens flickered. Gasps filled the hall. Instead of Elena's highlight reel, her affair unfolded for everyone to see. Texts scrolling across the screen. Your lips seal the deal. Receipts flashing. Photos glowing on the giant projector. Her laughter and audio clips echoing across the stunned crowd. Elena's face drained of color. Marcus stumbled through excuses as his wife stormed toward him, fury in her eyes. The whispers turned into a roar. I leaned close to Elena, my voice calm, steady, final. End of the line. Your secret's out. The room exploded into chaos, but I felt a strange, quiet peace. After months of deception, I wasn't the fool anymore. The storm had broken, and it was only the beginning. The Apex Gala had ended in chaos, but for me, it was strangely quiet inside. While Elena stumbled through stares and whispers, I walked out of the ballroom with steady steps. For months, I'd lived in torment, but that night, I carried something else. Vindication. The truth was out, and she could never twist it back into a lie. The fallout began before we even got home. News spread through Apex media like wildfire. Screenshots from the Gala's projection were already circulating in group chats, forwarded to clients, whispered in hallways. By the next morning, Elena's inbox was a graveyard of canceled meetings and icy "we'll be in touch" replies. Her reputation, once polished and untouchable, was collapsing like glass under a hammer. At home, she tried to spin the story, even after the evidence glared in her face. "Victor, you don't understand," she cried, clutching at me with trembling hands. "It wasn't what it looked like." Marcus pushed me into it. I was trying to protect my career. I stared at her, exhausted. 9 months, Elena. 9 months of emails, hotel rooms, and lies. That wasn't survival. That was choice. My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. The calm hurt her more than shouting ever could. She broke down, sobbing on the kitchen floor, mascara streaking her cheeks. A part of me, the part that still remembered Tuscany sunsets and vineyard vows, wanted to reach for her. But another part, the part she had gutted with betrayal, stood cold and resolute. "We're done," I said quietly. "Pack your things." Elena left within the week, moving into a friend's apartment while she scrambled to salvage her crumbling career. Marcus didn't fare much better. His wife filed for divorce within days, and Apex placed him on indefinite leave pending investigation. Rumors swirled that board members were pressuring him to resign altogether. 2 lives entangled in deceit, now unraveling for the world to see. As for me, I refused to drown in bitterness. The pain was still raw, yes, but I channeled it into something sharper. Focus. I sold the condo, keeping the profits tucked away like a war chest. Therapy became my anchor, a place where I poured out the grief I couldn't show in public. And out of that pain came an idea. I'd watched firsthand how quickly reputations could collapse when the truth surfaced. What if I built something from that? A firm that helped people navigate public storms, whether self-inflicted or blindsided. That's how Victor's Vantage was born. A crisis PR company run from a small office with secondhand desks but an iron determination. At first, I had doubts. Who would trust a heartbroken engineer to manage reputations? But I leaned on my network, calling in favors, offering low rates. Within months, word spread. My personal story became my brand. The man who exposed betrayal can help you survive your scandal. Clients came knocking. CEOs with reckless tweets, influencers with leaked videos, even a local politician caught in a shady deal. I turned their chaos into strategy, and every success rebuilt my own confidence. Meanwhile, Elena spiraled. Apex officially terminated her for conduct unbecoming. Her glamorous lifestyle, designer bags, weekend getaways, vanished. She applied for positions at smaller firms, but every interview ended in polite rejection. Her name was poisoned in the industry she once ruled. Word reached me through mutual acquaintances that she was temping at a call center, her ambition now a shadow of what it had been. Sometimes I wondered if she ever thought of me, if she regretted trading her marriage for Marcus's empty promises. But those thoughts didn't hold weight anymore. I was too busy building a new life. 8 months later, I met Clara. She was a 33-year-old designer I bumped into at a tech conference. No fireworks at first, just a genuine conversation about bad hotel coffee and missed flights. But there was something refreshing about her. Her wit cut through small talk, her smile felt unforced, and she asked questions that made me feel seen, not used. Our dates weren't lavish. We walked through city parks, shared rooftop drinks, and laughed until our stomachs hurt. There were no hidden texts buzzing at midnight, no excuses about client dinners. With Clara, everything felt transparent, unpolished, and real. I didn't have to perform, I just had to be. One night, as we sat under the city lights, she asked about my past. I hesitated, then told her the whole story. Elena, Marcus, the betrayal, the Gala reveal. Clara didn't flinch or judge. She just squeezed my hand and said, "That must have hurt like hell. But you turned it into something powerful. That says more about you than what they did." Her words stayed with me. For the first time, I felt the wound healing, scar tissue forming where pain once bled endlessly. Betrayal had been my darkest chapter, but it didn't have to define the rest of the book. Months later, as Victor's Vantage hit its one-year anniversary, I stood in my office watching my small team brainstorm over coffee and laptops. The journey from shattered husband to business owner hadn't been easy, but it was real. Every step forward was proof that pain could be repurposed, that loss could lead to growth. Elena tried reaching out once, an email filled with apologies, regrets, and a request to talk things through. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty, but because that chapter was over. She had written the ending the moment she chose betrayal. I had no interest in reopening a book that had already burned. Instead, I poured myself into the present, into my work, into Clara, into the simple joys of living without lies. And while I never thanked Elena for what she did, part of me acknowledged that without her betrayal, I might never have found the strength to rebuild. Looking back now, I see betrayal for what it was, a breaking point that forced me to rediscover myself. Yes, it cut me down to the bone. Yes, it left scars that may never fully fade. But it also gave me clarity, purpose, and the courage to start again. And maybe that's the truest revenge of all. Not just exposing the liars, but proving that even when they tear you down, you can rise higher than ever before.